Good. March 17th, it's St. Patty's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and I don't know if you're going to celebrate it. If you're Irish, maybe, but it's St. Patty's Day anyway. So markets holding on, kind of steady, kind of twisting in the wind in the big holding pattern. It's what we are right now. We have rolled to the June expiration, and we are so far should be well on our way now. Should be most of the volume should have rolled over. Should be more issues with that right now. The news this morning, we had a Fed meeting beginning today, and they have the announcement tomorrow. At 8:30, we get housing starts and permits. We get pending home sales at 10, and a 20-year auction at 1. So that's what we got on tap. So housing starts, pending home sales, 20-year auction. 8:30 and 10. Other than that, I would just start off this thing range bound. If anything, I would probably keep it slight bias to the downside, given what's going on and the fact that any headline which is not going to be good is going to be market reacting negatively to. It's unlikely if you get the headline where they react positively, that would be that okay, we are ceasing the hostilities we done, and the Strait of Hormuz is open, kind of thing. But you just have to take that with a grain of salt because it's going to be it may be a process, depending on how the whole thing develops in that part of the world. But any headline coming out of there is going to be potentially, I would say, potentially affecting the market on a negative basis, unless it's wrapped up and done. So we're still in a holding pattern, and that's exactly kind of what I think the market is reflecting right now. So I would just start off range bound right now. Watch the market. If anything, I would favor the short side. But if they take out that 60s here, the 67 60s, I mean, we could see a nice little rotation up to test the 68 15s. And that would be like the market moving higher. So favoring the short side kind of means that any news events coming out of this situation is likely going to drag the market down. That's what I mean by that. Now we saw yesterday we had a nice pop like at like late afternoon. That was like the Nvidia CEO talking about their revenue streams, and that was popped pretty good and then reversed right back down again. So I think the market is just hanging on every word that comes out of the administration about the progress of the war. Anything is going to go bad, the market's going to react negatively. Once we see the good news come out, that they're kind of wrapping it up, and I hope they do. I hope they don't, get themselves tangled into something more substantial. But they're going to finish that job, and after that, we're going to have low oil prices permanently. It's not going to be this back and forth all the time. So it's going to be a different scenario altogether. So if the market starts pricing in the future, see past the conflict, I think we can see some strength start building, and we'll see how that develops. But I mean, I would say that you take out that 68.15 on the way up here. I think that's when we can say, yeah, maybe we're getting that the market starting to look past this whole conflict and pricing in what a world without the Iranian as a terror group or terror. Looking to sell strength early on against the 67.50s, the 65s, the 80s for rotations down. Looking to buy weakness against the 35s, the 15, 67.15, that is, 67.05s, down to the 66.95s. These two support areas, the 67.05s, 66.95s. If both of them comes out, that's when we are below this little edge here again. So if this little edge comes out again, I think we are heading right back down to the 66.30s again. So at that point, I would lean in on the short side a little bit more. And if they start taking out the highs of the day session from yesterday, the 67.80s, I would look for a rotation up maybe up to the 68.15 here, this upper area resistance. And then see if they can take that out. So as I said, I mean, market is in a holding pattern, so it's going to react to headlines, and it could react violently to it. If they start looking past the conflict, that's when I think we start seeing some net buying start kicking in. But if you think about it, from what's going on in the Middle East, the negative reaction has been pretty darn muted. So it's not like we have a lack of oil here in the U.S. We have plenty of oil to supply ourselves, and it's interesting, how that oil price, global oil price, still impacts that dynamic, because it's not like we just produce the oil and then we manufacture all our products. It's still different kinds of oil that has to be shipped to different spots, and it's a complicated web of stuff that goes on there. That's why it's not just we have our own oil, we can refine it, and we're good. It's not quite that easy. All right, so looking to sell strength against the 67, 65. They just took out this 50s, 67, 80s for rotations down. I'm going to buy weakness against the 67, 30s or 35s, 67, 15s, 67.05, 66.95 for rotations back up again. Below these two support areas, 67.05 and 66.95. Leaning on the short side. That is that three-level ledge. I start folding this together, it's going to be a nice little ledge right there. And if that comes out, yeah, we'll probably see a rotation back towards the lows. If they start taking out the 80s here, the high of yesterday's day session, we may see a rotation out on the long side and see how far they want to take it. So that's kind of the way I get started on the ES, but primarily range bound trading. So I'm looking to fade the edges fairly equally until I see some sort of a direction forming. On the NASDAQ, NASDAQ is kind of right back to value, so they're not quite in any spot where we have to worry about a direction, but they're right back in this big area of values again. So they are flat out range bound. I would look to sell strength against the 24 900s, the 960s up to the 25,030s. I'm looking to buy weakness against the 840s, 790s, 730s for rotations back up. Last one down here, it's going to be at the 650s and 600. So these two support areas at 650 and 600. If they come out, I think bets are off. So that's that big lower support area I have marked here on the F1. So if that F1 support area comes out, it starts trading below value in this big distribution. Yeah, looking for more weakness, see how far they want to take it at that point. But remember, they're still on the NASDAQ, you're still in a pretty big distribution there. So as you approach the outer edges, you're still looking to buy those edges until you really see a change in direction. So for NASDAQ to make a move out of the middle, out of this big distribution, you require quite a pretty significant move. So, but at this point, we're starting off range bound, looking for short setups up to that 25,030s, looking for long setups down here to the 24, 640 or 50s to the 600s, rotations back up again. So that's fairly straightforward stuff. The fact is that we're just in a holding pattern. I don't think the news today, the housing start and the pending home sales are going to do much to drive the market. It's all going to be headlines. Maybe if some earnings reports still coming out could potentially impact it, but I think primarily people are leaning heavily on the oil price of oil and what's going on in that conflict right now. Fed meeting is beginning, as I said, and so that's going to keep going. And we'll get an announcement tomorrow. Chances are we're going to stay the same. They're not going to lower rates. It's going to probably stay exactly the same. But we'll see what the sentiment is going into tomorrow's number. So that's how we get started. Now, finally, on the bonds. Bond market, always interesting to pay attention to. It's still not doing much, just kind of holding. Looks to me like the fund supported. They haven't really the overnight traded lower from yesterday. So if you see this thing here, the low is in at 1320, and now they've been slowly drifting higher. Now, if you take out this area right here, this 1420s, and start trading above it, I think holds we could see a retest of that 1320 pretty easily. So up at a couple of key resistance areas right now in the short term. So I would look for shorts against that 1420 and the 1426s. So these two resistance areas for rotations back down. And if they take out the 26s, I think we are on our way higher at that point. But initially, that the first level there, the 20s, is really the one which has to come out, and one level outside of that would be the 26s. So that's why I'm leaning it also pretty close to each other. So those two, I'm looking for short setups against. But if they take those out, I'm just staying on the long side at that point and see how far I want to take it. On the way down, I'm looking to buy weakness against the 1405s, 4114 in the buck. Rotations back up. Below 114, I would stay on the short side and see how far I want to take it. So fairly tight range on the bonds, not much going on there right now. But we do have a 20-year auction, so you could see some potential directional move going into that auction. Not sure what they're going to do, but if you see like a net buying, like the net grind like that, don't step in front of that. Even if it looks like they're setting up for a nice reversal trade or at the level, most likely they're moving it to a certain price level, and you won't stand a chance if you're on the wrong side of that. So a 20-year auction coming out of one side, pay attention to some market manipulation or dealer manipulation on the bonds going into that auction. But anyway, so that's the bonds, range bound trading there too. So everything is starting off pretty range bound. Let's see how this is going to start developing. A little pop here going into the right now after the 5 o'clock or after after the 8 o'clock kicked in here. A little rally to the upside. So let's see where they're going to go. The trader take it from there. So range bound trading. Watch for headlines, and then let's see how this whole day is going to shape up. Alrighty, guys, we'll wrap it there. So good trading, and I will see you back at 11:30 for the next update.